Today on Kraken's Garage, we're going to do the reveal of my new bike. Let's talk about that. Let's get cracking. So did anybody guess what the bike is? I showed a couple of quick flash pictures in my last video of glimpses of it, and a couple of people private messaged me with their ideas of what they thought it was. To date, nobody has guessed it. So let's get to the reveal. So here she is, a 2025 Ducati hypermotard 698 mono RVE livery. So that's quite a mouthful. We're going to dive into the details and just hit the quick specs on this as I start my journey down the road with this bike. I have lots to talk about on it, and the tech that is on this bike is amazing. So much content to come on this that I'm looking forward to diving into, and once again getting my hooligan on. I'm just going to do a quick run over of the specs and kind of what makes this bike special and the equipment that's on it. I apologize for all the bugs all over it as I've been hammering it and I haven't had a chance to clean it for this video. Let's dive into the specs real quick. 77.5 horsepower out of a thumper, single cylinder. Even though it's marqueed as a 698, it's actually a 652cc thumper. I think they did the marketing to put it at 698 to directly go after 𝕒𝕒𝕒𝕒, which is KTM, and their 690 Supermotards. Supermotards is another video for another day, but it's a fairly new, last 10, 12 years or so, style of riding, which is set up much like a dirt bike except with street tires and a very refined suspension. They are a scalpel on carving through the corners and drifting in the mountains. We've got a lot to explore on this topic. This thumper revs to 10,250. This is Ducati's single most powerful thumper they have ever made. It's been quite some time since Ducati made a mono or thumper. The last mono Ducati made was back in 1993 through 95, and that's over 30 years ago, and it was wildly popular. It was called the Super Mono, and it was pretty much just a race bike, and they made only a handful of them. So this is a wild leap of faith, and there's a story about how this bike kind of came to fruition that we'll share in another video. As I said, this bike makes 77.5 horsepower and 46.5 pound-feet of torque. And this is the RVE livery, and that includes this, what they call graffiti paint scheme. No, these are not just stickers stuck on plastic. They are actually painted on and then clear coated over. Typical Ducati, they do top shelf work. What you get with the RVE livery is a quick shifter up and down, which is optional on the base model. You get these wheels that are semi-colored in red. About a third of the wheel is in red. It gives it a striking stance while you're going down the road. It's rocking a slipper clutch, a 6-speed quick shift up and down transmission that comes with the RVE trim level. That the 6-speed is kind of standard in today's motorcycle world. It has a very small gas tank. It only holds 3.2 gallons of gas. You have a range of about 120 miles before you're walking. So with this seat, you're going to be ready to get off the bike in 100 miles. It comes with a host of electronics and technology and riding aids, and we'll talk about more on that in just a second. Front suspension is a 45mm Marzocchi, fully adjustable. The rear suspension is progressive linkage with Sachs fully adjustable monoshock. Brakes on the front are a 330mm front Brembo disc with Bosch cornering ABS. I believe that is right off the Panigale. By the way, this motor is a direct graph from the Panigale last V-twin Panigale they made. They took the motor and cut it in half and put 2 counterbalances on it to reduce the vibration of a thumper. So this is a race-bred engine right from the factory. The rear disc is 245 millimeter disc with single piston caliper and again with Bosch cornering ABS. The instrumentation, there's a lot to talk about on this. It's a 3.8 liquid crystal display with what they call IBN technology. That's a fancy way of saying it's pretty much a two-tone black with white lettering liquid crystal display. The oil intervals are every 9,000 miles, and the part that always makes my hair stand up with Ducatis is the valve clearance check or valve adjustments, and the intervals are at 18,000 miles on this bike, which is totally doable. In the past, they were quite shorter spans and very expensive to get done. It's a bit above my pay grade to adjust the valves on this bike. Let's talk about the electronics on this bike. The hypermotard 698 mono electronics control package is based on the use of Bosch 6-axis inertial platform that can instantaneously identify acceleration along with the roll, yaw, and pitch axis. The package comprises of power modes, cornering ABS, slide-by brake, Ducati wheelie control, engine brake control, Ducati traction control, and Ducati power launch and quick shift up and down. The latter is included as a standard on the 698 Mono RVE version and is available as an accessory on the 698 Mono. If you do get the base model, I highly recommend you get the quick shift. I've ridden a lot of quick shifters, and on this bike, dare I say, it is seamless. It is perfect. You cannot even feel the bike shifting up or down. The wheelie control has 4 different settings. Level 1 is turned off completely. So if you possess the ability to ride a wheelie and keep it up and maintain it, I don't personally possess those skills. I can pop a wheelie, but I have to set it back down. I'm not confident enough to ride it out. With this electronics, the bike goes up a certain degree. You just hammer on the throttle and it keeps it there. It is actually a tutorial on to teach you how to ride a supermotard or how to ride like a hooligan. That's crazy. As you up the different levels, 2, 3, and 4, it adjusts the ability to wheelie more all the way down to less. The ABS is fascinating with brake control. And have you ever heard the term backing in a bike? That's where you take a hard turn, much like when you're in a car, a rear-wheel drive car, and you hit the emergency brake to drift your rear end around that corner and make a much sharper turn. That's exactly what this bike is doing. And again, that's an expert level of riding to be able to drift bikes in corners. You can do it with pretty much any bike, right down to a scooter, but you better know what you're doing or you're going to high side in a hurry. So what this bike does with those 4 different levels of brake monitoring, you can turn it off, of course, if you're an expert and know how to do it and manage it on your own, as well as you can set different levels. You can stand up on the rear brake in a hard turn. I mean, put all your weight on it, trying to lock up the rear wheel. It will not let you lock up the rear wheel, and you'll drift your rear wheel around that corner. Amazing technology. So I'm going to end the video here. That's a brief overview of some of the tech on this bike. It's still the honeymoon. I can't really talk about it yet. I will say the seat is comfortable. It is a whopping 35.6 inches tall. If you are not 6 foot and above with a tall inseam on your legs, I have a 34-inch inseam, you will not be able to flat foot this bike. At 6'4" and a 34-inch inseam, I have no problems with it. If you're vertically challenged, this bike is going to give you a bit of grief, but you can learn to stop at stoplights and rest on one foot, scooching your bun to one side or the other to give you a little more leg room to put a leg down. So just know that is maybe a challenge for some. Ducati makes a lower seat and also a lowering kit for the bike, but as we know, that comes at Ducati prices. So you might want to look into that and you'll be able to lower it down a couple of inches. So So yes, I'm an odd character and I have very strange bikes in my garage. I go off the beaten path to get my jollies. This bike certainly fills that void at this time. You cannot help but grin when you ride this bike for many reasons. And we'll talk about more of that in future videos as we break down the Ducati hypermotard 698 mono RVE livery. I hope you enjoyed today's episodes. There's my ghost dog Bullet. He's here to remind me to wrap things up. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you want to see more in the future, hit the subscribe button right down there in the corner. And remember, folks, go riding because it's good for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.